We're live. What's up? What's good? 2.5 hours before the deadline, so I've gone a bit early, but didn't really have much else on this afternoon, so I thought I'd send it. What's up, Shaniel, mate? Hope you're well. Got quite a bit of content to go through for this one, so bit of news, fixtures stuff, all the jazz you need for your deadline needs. Hope you're having a good Friday. Feels a bit different doing this on a Friday afternoon. It's a bit of a treat. It means I got a free Saturday morning. Don't know what to do with it, to be honest. I really enjoy my Saturday deadline streams, so yeah, we'll have to see. Hope you've had a good day, Shaniel, and yeah, I'll give it a second and then I'll go through some of like the news and stuff that I've got to round up, because yeah, we got plenty of news going on in the world of fantasy football. Injury updates for Man City, Leeds, Man United, Newcastle as well. Got a key suspension that I think's worth talking about, and then obviously the absolute disaster at the moment that is my FPL team. Absolutely no idea what to do with my transfers. Been thinking about it all week and I'm still none the wiser. So yeah, you'll see me completely bottle it and make the wrong decision with my FPL team, I imagine. Yeah, it's good to have you on board, mate. Right, let's get into some content. Okay, so first up, we've got some Man United news. I thought it would be worth talking. Oh, just sort my camera out. I thought it would be worth talking about Man United, purely because they're one of the teams that doubles. Key piece of news, I was a little bit worried about Luke Shaw being in my team and in most teams. He was ill for a couple of games, but we're all good on that front. Started v Forest, looks fit, happy days. And then other news for United as well. This picture just shows essentially that Martial and Sancho are now both fit. Don't really think Sancho is an option, but I do think that Martial could well be an option now in FPL again. I just think he's going to be preferred over Weghorst. Probably won't play 90 minutes every game, but I think he's going to be preferred to start. And I imagine some people probably still have him. They were just holding on to him in the hopes for this game week. So definitely, if you still have him, go for it. I think he's going to start both games. Not sure on the minutes, but I think he's going to start both. Oh, sorry to hear your cricket game got rained out, mate. That's pretty crap. I'm all good, mate. Had a really busy week at work. It's all finished now. Thankfully, I only have like a half day on a Friday, which is a real treat. So I finished work at about 1:30 after I had to like present this big business case we've been working on all week. But yeah, thankfully that's all over. So I've just been chilling, went for a little walk around Bristol, and now doing a deadline stream. Hello, Ben Vlogs, mate. Hope you're all good. I mean, final little news roundup. 3 bits of news I thought were worth reporting about. First one is Newcastle related. And I think it's gone under the radar a little bit, but Bruno Guimaraes being suspended until the 4th of March. I think it's going to have a real impact on how the Newcastle team play. He's a really important player for them, in my opinion. And they've also just sold John Joe Shelvey. I noticed that he signed for Forest as well. At least I'm pretty sure it was John Joe Shelvey. Yeah, Nottingham Forest just seem to be signing everyone. And I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, Longstaff's been playing a lot of football for Newcastle recently, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure he's going to play there for Newcastle now. And I think that really significantly changes the way they're going to set up defensively. So yeah, we'll see on that one. I think I'm never going to be put off by Newcastle defence. I still think they're great options. But I think people are glossing over the fact, literally their best player, I think Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, I think it really impacts them. Then we got Man City. I hope you can read the predicted team there. If you can't, I'll just read it out. Jack Grealish, Erling Haaland, Riyad Mahrez, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri, Lewis, Ake, Laporte, Akanji and Ederson. That's Luke Disable, the Man City prediction king. That's his team selection. And then we've got news that John Stones is going to be out for 3 weeks, between 3 weeks and a month due to his injury. Pep Guardiola confirmed that. And unfortunately, anyone who bought Rodrigo in, he's on the sidelines for 2 months. I think he's got an ankle injury or something like that. So, yeah, some key injuries there that I think are worth talking about. Would you start White, Botman, or Almiron? Ooh. Tell you what, I've got a screen that'll help with that. You can get an early preview of my terrible looking teamlet. So this is Draft Hound, for anyone that doesn't know what this is. They're a partner of mine. Well, I say that, I don't get paid by them or anything, but they've kindly given me like a free version of their paid app to use on stream and videos. And what I can do is compare players for predicted points. So if you want me to compare, who do you want? White, Botman and Almiron. We can have a look at their predicted points and go from there. I think that might be a nice way of doing it. Oh, it's being annoying. Have to forgive me, it's just frozen. You have to remember the white points if I actually... Draft time just completely broke on me then. What I'm going to do, rather than that, so I'm going to stick Botman in my team. So Botman's on 5 predicted points against White's 5.2. And then let's have a look, see what Almiron's on. 4.8. So if you're looking at predicted points alone, mate, Draft Hound are saying Ben White. Do I think Tomiyasu will start ahead of Ben White? No, I don't. There's a very good Twitter account. I'll try and pull it up if I can, mate. It's called Jump the Wave on Twitter. It's a lady called Emma. And what she does is she has a group of pretty avid fans from the biggest teams in the Prem. And she asks them all to predict the lineups each week. So what I'll do is I'll show you her account. And she does a predicted lineup, basically, for all the big boys in the Prem for each week. So if you look there, 100% of her predictors are saying that Ben White is going to play. So yeah, I think Ben White's going to play based on that. Hopefully that answers your question. Martinelli, Odegaard, Rashford and Fernandes in midfield. Should you swap one of them for Mahrez? I wouldn't do that this week. I would maybe do Fernandes to Mahrez next week because I just think you could do with saving the money and Mahrez has a double. But I don't think I'd be bringing in Riyad Mahrez for just a random single game week against Tottenham because you're just not even sure he's going to play. I have both Almiron and Akanji on my bench. Can I sub Kane off for any one of them? Should we do predicted points again? So Kane predicted 5.1 points. Almiron's 4.8. And who else did you have? Akanji. Let's get Akanji up. I would probably leave Harry Kane, mate. Just because, yeah, Kane's top of the predicted points. Oh, you've got Mahrez on the bench, I see. So you're looking whether you should start Mahrez. No, I think Mahrez, we can do the predicted points jobby again, can't we, here? So if we look at, I think Bruno and Rashford absolutely have to play. So if you just have a look at Odegaard and his predicted points, then we can put Mahrez in here. Look at his predicted points. 5.6. So Mahrez and Martinelli are equal. I would just say I think Martinelli's more likely to start, so I'd probably go with Martinelli. And he's just signed a new contract as well. I think that's the way to go. Rokugu, if that's the way to say it, I think I would go for Akanji over Ake. Akanji just seems to be playing so consistently. And Pep has said in his press conference just how many players he's got in that left-back position. He was just naming. He's obviously got Sergio Gomez, Ake, Lewis, Laporte can fill in there. So that's 4 players he mentioned that could play in that left-back position. And just by how he's just been trusting in Akanji more than he has Ake. Akanji's been playing pretty much every game. So for that reason, I would suggest Akanji's probably more nailed, and I'd go for him. There's no real attacking comparison between the two. I think I'd just go for Akanji. Though if you want my honest opinion, I don't think I would actually touch the Man City defence. Even though they double next week, one of their fixtures is Arsenal, and I just don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet against Arsenal. So you'd be bringing in a Man City player to keep 1 clean sheet in a double. I just don't think it's worth it for the defence of Man City. I mean, you look there, I've got Cancelo rotting in my team, but I just can't justify taking him out. Not right now, anyway. Predicted points for Stupinan. I can have a quick look for you, mate. No problem at all. 5.7, bud. That's pretty damn tasty. Yeah, it's more than about the same as Kevin De Bruyne this week. So, yeah, he's looking pretty tasty, mate. Kane to Nketiah, Martinelli to Bruno with a view to upgrade Andreas to Saka next week. I like it. Yeah, really like it. I think Saka's one of the best Arsenal assets. He's definitely going to play both games. Whether or not he takes the penalties anymore with Jorginho, I'm not sure, but I think he's probably their talisman as well, isn't he? So I really like Saka. I like that move. My team currently: Edison, Ward, Trippier, Shaw, White, Botman, Bueno, Martinelli, Rashford, Garnacho, Almiron, Kane, Haaland, Tony. 2 free transfers. I really like those moves, Ben. To be honest, Garnacho to Bruno absolutely makes sense. Kane to Nketiah makes sense too. Yeah, really like it. The only thing I'd say to people bringing in Nketiah is it worth doing it? Unless you need it to free up the funds, and then absolutely fine, do it this week. But I wouldn't rush to bring in Nketiah, just because you just don't know what's going to happen this week. Like, the worst case scenario is you bring him in and he gets injured, and then you just be kicking yourself because you haven't really brought him in for this week. You brought him in for next, and then he gets injured this week. You'd be kicking yourself. So that's just my thinking on Nketiah. Rodrigo replacement. Sorry, I did miss your question, bud. Should we have a look? So, max price. Can I change that? Yeah, so just go for it, mate. I don't mind that at all. Let's go on the actual FPL website, shall we, and have a look. Oh, I have to turn my screen off because I'm not going to show you my password. There you go. Oh, brilliant. No password. Someone's going to log in and sabotage my team. Bloody hope not, mate. I think I'm going to lock myself out of my FPL because I can't remember my password. It's going to be brilliant. Hang on, we'll try another browser. Hang on. Bear with me, chaps. I'm being slow today. Hope you're all having a lovely Friday, though, while I just load up my fantasy team. There we go. Right. I don't really think, because late team news, I mean, the team news is going to involve Chelsea and Fulham, so unless you're you're killing yourself over Chelsea and Fulham players, I don't think it really matters. But if yeah, I mean, give it till at least half an hour. I'm going to wait till half an hour before the deadline to make my moves. I think what we're looking at, 6.5 million replacements for Rodrigo. Oh, mate, go for the Brighton mids, I reckon. I know they blank in 25, but I think someone like Matoma this week, if you don't already have him, be a great replacement. Just looking at the predicted points as well. Matoma would probably be right up there for predicted points. Now, you've got to look past the fact that obviously the United players are all doubling, so they're topping the predicted points. But Matoma's here, he's on 6 predicted points this week. So it's basically the algorithms are saying he's definitely going to return against Bournemouth. And yeah, like he's got decent fixtures. I know he blanks in 25, but for those 3, Bournemouth, Palace, Fulham, 3 are genuinely the worst defences in the league. I really like Matoma to replace Rodrigo, I think, mate. Unless you already have him. If you already have him, let me know and I'll find you someone else. Please give me your prediction for Newcastle West Ham. Let's just see who the home team is in that a second. I'll close that off before I get in trouble and people see my password. I think Newcastle are going to concede. I've got to be honest. Who's the home team? Will it tell me if I click on there? Yeah, West Ham home. So Newcastle, the home team. I think West Ham will score, and it'll be... Yeah, I think Newcastle will win, but it'll be something like 2-1. I'm with you, Ben. I think that'll probably be the score. I just don't think it's been talked about enough, the impact that not having Bruno Guimaraes in that Newcastle team's going to have. I think it's huge. And he's suspended until the 4th of March. That's a long time to not have... And I don't think... He's not the most goal scoring or assist making player in their team, but I think he's the best player in that Newcastle team. I just think it's going to be such a loss. I really do. And what I'll continue, just keep going with questions, by the way, if you've got them, but I'm just going to reel through the rest of the content I've got, and we'll keep going on a bit of a rotation. So my next screen was just the expected points for the week, top players for expected points. We've got Rashford top of the tree on 12.6 points. Fernandes, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. I'm a little bit doubtful about Wan-Bissaka. I just have a feeling that Dallow's going to be back for the second fixture of 22, and he could well play. So yeah, I really like Wan-Bissaka as a potential option, but I just think he's a bit risky, and Dallow could come back at any time. It's got Rodrigo on this list. I printed it off. I took the screenshot yesterday getting ready. Obviously, he's got to be discounted now. Varane, Martinez, Antony. I really actually like Casemiro. When you look at Casemiro's underlying numbers, they are the same. And I'm thinking expected goals actually better than Bruno Fernandes's, which is just crazy. But that's literally where he sits in terms of stats. Jack Harrison and David De Gea to top them off. So yeah, there's the view of the expected points, top players for expected points. And then we've got goal scoring percentage. So across the game week, Rashford's on 66% across the 2 games. Haaland, even though he's only got 1 fixture, still up there on 56%. Weghorst, Rodrigo, Martial, Fernandes. Bamford's up there, which is quite interesting. He's a really punty option this week, and I don't actually all mind it because I think he could well play both games now without Rodrigo in the team. Welbeck and Ferguson, Antony and Tony topping out the goal percentage. And then goal involvement, similar story really. Man United players topping it all. Rashford's basically 75% this week to be involved in a goal, which is just insane. That's such a high percentage. You can obviously discount Rodrigo. Martial, Haaland, Antony, Bamford, Eriksen, Tony and Rutter. You can obviously discount Eriksen from that list as well with his injury. But just thought that'd be interesting to show. And then on the clean sheet odds, Arsenal top in the tree along with United. In United's first fixture against Palace, they're 55% to keep a clean sheet. You got Brighton on 52, Newcastle on 50, Chelsea on 45, Aston Villa on 38, Brentford, Liverpool and Man City. And I think beyond that, I don't really think you can foresee clean sheets from the rest of those teams. I just thought it'd be worth showing anyway. Interestingly, Brighton are 52% this week to keep a clean sheet. Remember Guy above asking for Estupiñán's predicted points. Really like the Brighton defence this week. And Brighton attackers as well. The Brighton team against Bournemouth is a plum fixture. yeah, look really good. Just a bit of fixture news as well. I've done a little roundup of everything that Ben Crellin has put on his Twitter account recently. So obviously we've got our double game week in 22 for Man United and Leeds. 23 next week, we got City and Arsenal double in. A blank in 25 for United, Brentford, Newcastle and Brighton. But a potential double for Liverpool and Arsenal, which is quite exciting. 26 and 27 are 2 game weeks where Brighton could possibly double, which is why I like Matoma. You just bench him in 25 because he's so cheap and then play him in 26 and 7. Game week 28, expecting lots of blanks. Lots of teams are going to blank in 28, but one thing is for sure, Arsenal will not be, which just makes Arsenal assets so valuable. In 29, we got another expected double, different varying percentages of likelihood, but those are all the teams listed there that are probably going to double in 29. Some more blanks in 32 and then some doubles in 34 and 37 as well. And here's how I am lining up at the moment. Less than ideal situation with my team. I've got Cancelo there just rotting away on my bench. And I've still got... I'm quite happy with that 11, but I've got one free transfer where I could bring in Bruno Fernandes. I'm just weighing up if it's worthwhile doing so. That's what I'm looking at the moment, and we'll get through it all in this stream. I've got nearly 2 hours still to decide on what to do, but yeah, this is how my team's looking at the moment. And then just a view of my chip strategy. I've used my triple captain already in 20. I think this week with Rashford, it's a really good opportunity to use it. I just think he's lower owned than Haaland was as well, when Haaland had his unfortunate blank. Well, he didn't blank, he scored 1 goal in 20, but I just think with the lower ownership that Rashford has compared to Haaland, you're going to gain more in rank from points, if that makes sense. And I also think he only needs a goal to match him. So yeah, I think Rashford this week makes a great triple captain, as does Haaland next week. Probably going to free hit in 29, that big double game week. I don't own many assets from that lot, so I think I'm going to free hit them in. Wildcarding in 33, there's going to be a big blank in 32. I'm going to dead end my team into that. Wildcard in 33. Build a decent team that can bench boost either in 34 or 37 for those doubles. And that's my strategy. One thing I would say, I haven't actually linked it in the description of this stream, but FPL Raptor, I think probably last week now, put a video out all about chip strategy, and it's the best, most informative video I've seen on it, and I didn't want to plagiarise him. I took my strategy from his video, and I wanted to credit him for it. So yeah, that's it really for the info I've got. I'll cycle through it as the stream goes on, but for the time being, we can look at my team for a little bit, and I'll answer some of your questions again. What we got? Yeah, I agree on Bruno Fernandes. Rodrigo out definitely makes Nonto and Bamford a better option. I took a bit of a punt on Nonto a couple of weeks ago. I sold Martial for him when Martial had his injury, because I didn't think Martial would be fit for this week, to be honest. So I've gone for Nonto, and Nonto's the kind of price that you can just bench if he doesn't actually play. If he doesn't have a great fixture. Like next week, just Man United at home, just bench him. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't mind. Excuse me, I do not mind. I can't talk anyone out of a Rashford triple captain this week. I think it's a great shout. I really do. I'm jealous of those that have still got the chip. Yeah, it's a good point, Daniel, with the Eriksen injury. Like the way he progresses the ball from defence to attack. Like he can take the ball on the half turn, really play cutting passes. It just remains to be seen if Sabitzer can do that straight away. I'm not sure if he can, and it's going to be a big hole for whoever comes in Eriksen's place to fill. But fixtures being Palace and Leeds this week, I still think Man United will be fine. But I do agree that the Eriksen injury is going to have an impact on Man United's output. I think you're right. He's one of those, like, it's just the case with like centre midfielders like that. They don't necessarily get too much attention. It's like Bruno Guimaraes, like, I say he's Newcastle's best player, but he doesn't. He gets a lot of plaudits because the Geordies love him, but he doesn't get amongst the goals, doesn't get amongst the assists. but the way he makes the team tick goes unnoticed sometimes, and I think Eriksen sort of fits that mould. Yeah, so it's a great point. But yeah, with my team, I'm just struggling really. I could quite easily do De Bruyne to Fernandes and then back to either Mahrez or someone like that next week. Or I could just roll the transfer and have 2 next week and do something with Cancelo. I'm really torn on what to do. I just think I see Fernandes' ownership growing so much that I just don't think you can do without him this week anymore. I'm not really sold on him as an asset. I'm definitely not sold on him long term with the underlying numbers that he's got. But I just think with his form at the moment, the fact he's got 2 good fixtures in a double, so many people are buying him, I think it's really hard. It's really hard not to go for him. Yep, Haaland triple captain next week, perfectly decent option. I really don't think there's much between Rashford triple captain this week and Haaland next week. I really don't. And to be honest with Haaland, like the reason I did it in 20 is because the minutes I felt were guaranteed. But the minutes, I think the minutes next week for him are guaranteed. Unless he gets injured, I think he's going to absolutely kill it. And if you look at the predicted points as well, Rashford's on, 12.6 or 12.5, I think that says. And then Haaland next week, 8.4, 7.5? It's nearly 6. Is that 15.9 points? So yeah, I mean, 15.9 points is his bare prediction. So yeah. Alexandru, I'm not sold on Bruno Fernandes as triple captain. I'm not even really sold on Bruno on the whole, I've got to say. I don't think he's a triple captain option this week. I think I'd probably save it if you don't want to use it on Rashford. I'd just save it for Haaland next week. But I don't hate bringing him in. Yeah, and you're right, Ben Vlogs. I think he's had a bit of a position change as Bruno, and he's playing more advanced now, and that really suits him. Yeah, I agree. I'm probably getting more and more sold on Bruno as the stream goes on, really. Yeah, I think I might go De Bruyne to Bruno. Alternative, I don't think I have the money, actually. I was just going to see if I could do Martinelli to Bruno, but I don't think I have the money. The reason I would get rid of Martinelli is just his minutes against Trossard. But I think I'm just going to have to leave him. Might take a hit next week to deal with Cancelo and bring in another double, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, mate. That's what the data's there for. I'm sorry that it makes you doubt it, but yeah. Like I just think Haaland next week looks a really good option as well, doesn't he? His 2 fixtures are what? They're Villa and Arsenal, aren't they? I'm pretty sure. Is that right? Yeah. Villa at home and then Arsenal. Yeah, so he predicted 8.4%. There's some more stats for you if you want to read that. There's Haaland's next week. It's looking really good, isn't it? I mean, 66.1% chance of scoring v Villa. Yeah, I'm completely with you, Spartans. Thanks for joining and taking part, mate. I really appreciate it, and I hope you and your family are all good. I think it is a bit FOMO for me with Bruno, but the thing is, because it's a double, like, it's not just a FOMO for 1 week. It's a FOMO that could really hurt me because he's so highly owned, and it's a double game week, and he's playing in a more advanced position against good opposition, against in good fixtures. So yes, it is FOMO, but I don't think it's irrational. I think there's logic behind me not wanting to miss out. I did suggest Bruno was an avoid because I thought he would line up in deeper positions. But I think with Sabitzer, Fred, Casemiro all, in the squad and playing all right, I think he's going to play in like the number 10 position, which makes him a decent option. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go for Bruno. I think I'm going to do De Bruyne to Bruno. Hello, Sparta, mate. I appreciate you joining as always. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Here's a point that I want to make about Rashford. When is the last time he actually scored more than one goal in a game? Like, he has got really good scoring form. But does he like score 2 or 3 goals a game? I don't think he does. He's not the type of player to do that. Whereas Haaland, I mean, a hat-trick is normal for him. And I just think he's far more explosive. And he's on the penalties. There's no doubt that Haaland takes penalties for Man City, whereas there is doubt as to Rashford, whether Rashford does it for United. And honestly, comparing the two players, could you really say that that Rashford is on better form? I'm not sure you could. And I don't know. Obviously, the Arsenal fixture for Haaland's really tough. I understand that, but he's Erling Haaland. And I think Man City absolutely have to win that game. And Pep's got to go all out to score goals against Arsenal. Like they have to. They cannot even play for a draw. They have to win that game. So he's just going to chuck men forward. So that's my opinion on how the game will go anyway, which I think puts Haaland in a good position. It's just interesting, isn't it? I think it's really close. I'm just trying to provide arguments for Haaland next week, triple captain. I think there's arguments for both. You could feasibly do either. But yeah, if we just have a quick look at the old... So yeah, chance of scoring for Rashford against Palace, 45.5, 33 against Leeds. Chance for brace, 16.5. Haaland. Chance of scoring against Aston Villa is 66%. So two in... That's insane. So it's 2/3 chance of scoring, and then a third, 1 in 3 chance for brace. Then against Arsenal, he's got more likely than not to score, and basically 1 in 3 chance for brace as well. That's what the underlying numbers are saying anyway. I'm not too, I've got to say, I'm not the most expert on FPL bonus points, but based on that scenario that you suggested, I would say so, because I don't predict Chelsea to score loads of goals tonight. I still don't think they're clicking, like, from an attacking perspective. Sorry I can't answer your question properly, but I'm not too... Maybe someone in the chat might be able to help. Yeah, and obviously you need 3, that's a good point, you need 3 saves to get the saves bonus points, if that's what you're asking. So maybe if he got that, he'd be more likely to get the bonus points. Yeah, and same with draft hand here, Spartans. Yeah, you compare the two. I mean, Haaland, I just did the maths. I think that's 15.9 predicted points in 23. Then Haaland, sorry, that's for Haaland. And then Rashford's on, what's that? 12.5? 12.5? Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that helps you with the saves. You need 3 saves to get bonus points. It's 3 for 1 bonus point and 6 for 2, I'm pretty sure, for saves. Might be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, sorry, Ben Vlogs. Nature of the beast, I'm afraid. One thing I would say is play it your own way. Don't, I'm just giving you information here. Not necessarily my opinion. My opinion is I'm a fence sitter. I don't know which is the best option. But play it your own way. If you really think that Haaland, if you really think Rashford's going to do well this week, and your gut instinct is to do it, you should probably triple captain him. That's what I would say. Yeah, best way to go, mate. Stick with your gut. And the other thing, the contrary to, is that the right word? I don't know. But the downside to Haaland is his ownership is so high that if he does do well as a triple captain, the gains are going to be less in terms of rank. Whereas if Rashford does well, the gains are going to be a bit more because he's a lower owned player. Spartans, if Badiashile is in the team for Chelsea, I will be doing that because I've got John Stones, and I think Stones to Badiashile captaincy tonight in Sky makes total sense. And I think Badiashile's transformed that Chelsea team, in my opinion, and he's the next big thing for them. Yeah, I think he's pretty much the Rudiger replacement. So I'm just going to go for him. Same with, it's interesting actually. I wouldn't necessarily... Should have a look at him. He's there, isn't he? The thing is with Chelsea, their fixtures are so good. People are sort of overlooking them in terms of fixtures, but their toughest fixture in their next, how many game weeks that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 game weeks is Spurs. And then most of those games are at home as well, against teams that, bottom half of the Premier League. That's a really nice run of fixtures. So I really like Chelsea. And Badiashile. Is Mudryk a good risk? He looked exciting when he came on. I don't think he's attacking underlying numbers when he played for Donetsk were I think he played for Shakhtar, didn't he? Weren't world beating. This week, probably not if you're going to transfer him in because he's not got a double. And I think you may as well spend your transfer on a player that has 2 games in 1 week rather than Mudryk. But I think if it was a normal single game week, I don't mind it, I guess. Yeah, it'd be good to see, mate, if you get that 100-pointer. I'm not sure if I've had one yet, to be fair. But yeah, feels good to get those 100 points, doesn't it? Agree, Ben. I would say contrary to that, and they'll play really strong in solidarity for him. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how Spurs are. It's obviously a really unfortunate situation and wish him the best. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Spurs fare without Conte. I think it's likely, Paul, that he's going to play as a number 10. I think the lads in this chat are all suggesting that he will. And I think with the Eriksen injury as well, he's probably going to do that. Because I think he'll revert to a Casemiro, Fred pivot. And Fred's been playing well. Casemiro, Fred pivot with a 4-2-3-1 with Bruno as the number 10. One thing I do think, actually, this week, I think Casemiro is a really good option. I really do. I think he's being overlooked. I really think Casemiro is a great option this week. He's just got so much more to his game than the Real Madrid made him look, because he just played so defensively for Madrid. But honestly, even against Forest, he was getting on the edge of the box and getting forward. So yeah, I really like Casemiro. Spartans, do I expect Shaw to play both games? It's a good question, because he played the full 90 against Forest, which was interesting. Don't know, in short. He could well be rested for one of them. I think it just depends on how he is, really, whether he picks up a knock or anything. I think if he gets through 90 minutes against Palace scot-free, I think he's going to play against Leeds 90 minutes. But he could well pick up a knock or an injury. I don't think Malacia is a threat to his minutes, though. Boo-boo, what's my plan? I think I'm edging towards Kevin De Bruyne for Bruno. Just because he's going to play more advanced. He's got the double. Not sure how De Bruyne is going to do against Spurs. Not sure how many minutes he's going to get. And Bruno is being bought by a lot of people. And I think it will hurt me a lot if Bruno even scores 1 goal this week. And I don't own him. So I think I'm heading towards going for Bruno for De Bruyne. Maguire triple captain. You go for it, mate. If you fancy it, that's the real chasing move. Yep, completely agree, Ben. Stones and Rodrigo, no Arsenal, playing 3-4-3, 3.5 in the bank. I would go for Badiashile, because I'm bringing him in tonight, and then probably go for, really like Saka, I like Nketiah, I like Odegaard, I like Saliba. Any of those Arsenal lot, I think you'd be able to afford that. But if you don't have a captain for tonight, you've got Thiago Silva. Mate, Shaniel, I was watching the stream. I turned it off because Christian Horner just hurts my soul to hear him talk because I really don't like him. But yeah, they spent so long like talking, and then they revealed the car, and it was the same as last year. Like it looks no different. And this was like their grand reveal ceremony, and it's exactly the same. There's no change at all. And people were waiting. I don't know how many people were watching the stream, but probably had 10,000 people waiting an hour to see the car that was there last year. You got it right, Spartans. Bit of yellow in there as well, don't forget. Yeah, see, that's the move I'm thinking, mate. That Cancelo to Lewis I completely agree, is a good move. But I just think I can live without doing that. I don't think there's a risk that any of the rest of my players don't start. If they do, I've got Andreas on the bench to come in. I just think it's worth going. De Bruyne to Bruno this week and just risking it on Cancelo next week. I could, of course, go like Cancelo to a defender next week if I wanted to, but I think I'm just gonna have to. I think I'm gonna go Fernandes to someone from City next week, and I might take a -4 actually and go Cancelo to another City defender or something like that. And yeah, I agree on the KDB stuff as well. Should we have a look at Jump the Wave? I remember I showed a Jump the Wave prediction for the Arsenal lineup, but let's have a look and see if she's done a Man City one. Okay, Man City predicted lineup v Spurs. It's a very tricky one this week. Okay, so these predictors are. Hopefully you can read that in the quality on the screen. I'm trying my best. So there's the prediction. They've got KDB 96% of the predictors are saying he's going to play. So only one say he's not. So yeah, I still think in terms of minutes it could be a risk though. I don't know if he's going to play 90. I think I'm just sold on KDB to Bruno. Who do I prefer between Nketiah and Odegaard? I think it's close. Nketiah leads the way, absolutely, in terms of underlying numbers. I really do. But Gabriel Jesus is coming back into the picture. Whereas Odegaard, he's the club captain. His role in that team is absolutely nailed on. Like, he is not going anywhere. Whereas Nketiah has probably got 3 or 4 more weeks absolutely nailed, and then Jesus comes back into the picture. So it's up to you. Do you plan to wildcard in that sort of period? If you do, go for Nketiah because you can just wildcard him out when Jesus comes back into the team. It also depends who you've got up front. Would you rather sell your players that you have in midfield for Odegaard or your forwards for Nketiah? I think that should be factored into the decision as well. But just on pure 2 players compared to one another in the short term, Nketiah takes it because his underlying numbers are better. And we can actually have a quick look at, if you want to have a look at the predicted points for the next few weeks. So there's Odegaard. And there's Nketiah. So the predicted points in draft hand are actually putting Nketiah lower than Odegaard, which I don't agree with because Nketiah's underlying numbers are a lot better than Odegaard's at the moment. I think I would do Greenwood to Nketiah, mate. I really would. Yeah, because Andreas, he can come in and be useful for you. I think he's more useful as an option in FPL than Greenwood is. Now Greenwood's playing in midfield. So I think I prefer Greenwood to Nketiah as the transfer. And yeah, fine. I think you could do that anyway. I just think your sale for the Nketiah move is better. Yeah, Pep Roulette's just a nightmare, isn't it? Would I want KDB back for the double? I think so. See, this is why I was debating whether to go Bruno before, because just because KDB is the most nailed of the City midfielders. You could just back him to start both those games in that double, I think. Or could you? May get rested against Villa. Who knows? No, preparing for that blank game week 25 is not easy at all. I don't think my team's in too bad a position for it, but I definitely need to be making some moves to get rid of my red players. If you have both Salah and KDB in your team, honestly, this week I would probably get rid of KDB. That sounds bad, doesn't it? But I don't know why I said that, but it feels like the right move. I think Salah could do all right this week. Because then you just bring KDB back in next week. Although I guess if you did Salah to... yeah, I guess I'd go Salah to Bruno. Forget what I just said. There's lots of chat and I confused myself. I'd go Salah to KDB. Salah to Fernandes, sorry. Because then you have KDB next week for the double. Should I get Bruno Fernandes in for KDB and Saka in for Almiron? What's your opinion? I'm thinking about KDB to Fernandes, mate. I've not confirmed it yet. I'm still in Aaron, not 100% sure. Saka in for Almiron, I definitely do. Unless you don't have Odegaard, and then I would definitely do Odegaard in for Almiron, because Odegaard's cheaper and he's got better underlying numbers, and the penalties might be gone from Saka now that Jorginho's signed. But if you've already got Odegaard, I'd definitely go for Saka. Fernandes in for KDB is not clear cut for me, and I'm still thinking about it. As you can, if you've just joined, you would have missed it, but I spent basically half the stream deciding whether that's the move I want to make. So yeah. For some reason, Draft Hounds thinks I'm taking a -4. There we go. But yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, by the way, please like it and subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. Basically, I do FPL YouTube content, as you can see. I do 2 or 3 videos a week, similar sort of vibe to this live stream. It's just I make them, so it's the same person. And yeah, if you want to see more of me, my lovely mug, subscribe to the channel and check out the rest of my videos. Surely I just go Cancelo to a cheap defender and Andreas to KDB. Then I have triple City next week, for example, and triple United and Arsenal. Yeah, I think I've tried to work this out, mate. So, like, if I go Lewis, can I do Andreas too? Yeah, I can. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's what I was thinking. So this week I do KDB to Fernandes, and then next week I take a -4 to bring. What am I trying to say? To bring KDB back in, and then another Man City defender. Is that what you're suggesting? Because that's along the lines that I'm thinking. I might take a hit next week. That's my view. I'm just in general opposed to hits in FPL though. Don't need to -4. How come? I'm confused there, mate, because you said, or have you not said Andreas to KDB? I'm confused. Sorry, pal. That's a bit confusing. I just don't feel... The thing is with Cancelo, like, I know he's red flagged, but I just don't see the major value in getting rid of him this week. I've got Andreas on the bench. I don't need money. I just don't know. I just don't think he's worth getting rid of straight away. But I guess if like 2 players in my team don't play, then I'm in trouble. But yeah, I don't know how he's survived for so long. It's just been the nature of it. Also, the Man United defence this week, I think, is I think Andreas is a great option. Whenever I've needed him, he's always just done bits for me. He's come off the bench and got an assist. I mean, his corners, every single corner that Andreas Pereira takes for Fulham, they literally land on Mitrovic's head every time. Like, it's insane how easily he finds him. Yeah. By the way, the Man United defence I really, really like. I think they could keep 2 clean sheets quite easily. They're turning Old Trafford into a bit of a fortress. Their defensive numbers are good. I think Eriksen being out of the team it probably detracts them from a attacking perspective a little bit. But I think defensively they probably actually improve because he doesn't. That's the only downside really to Eriksen. He doesn't have much like grit to his game. He doesn't necessarily get stuck in as much as the likes of Fred and Casemiro do. So for that reason, I think they might improve a little bit defensively, and I think they could quite easily keep 2 clean sheets. So yeah, bringing in United defenders this week is a good move. And to be honest, I've only got 1 free, mate. And to be honest, one of the moves I was considering is like Cancelo to Martinez, Man United's Martinez, and then just holding De Bruyne. That might be a move actually, to be fair, because Bruno's going to do all right this week, don't get me wrong, but I also think Man United could keep 2 clean sheets. So if I did say Cancelo to Martinez, that might make a bit of sense. But then who do I bench? Mitrovic maybe? Do I bench Mitrovic? Don't know. And then I bring in another player that blanks in 25 if I do that as well. Oh, it's so tough. We'll get there though. I think like the thought process is happening. I'm forming a view very slowly. Also, did you know that I was watching? It's quite a scandal actually. The quality of like drug testing in football is appalling, and it was I think it was like a Tifo football video where they were talking. I don't mean to bring up drugs, but like the performance enhancing drugs that footballers take and how often they get tested for it. When he played for Shakhtar, Fred was done for using performance enhancing drugs. I didn't actually know that, but yeah, that's what happened. Mitro, Patterson, Almiron, Fernandes, Shaw, and Nketiah for -8. I would scrap the Mitrovic to Nketiah move. I wouldn't do that this week. I think it's only worth doing on the double, and I'd probably just do. It depends who else is in your team as well. If you're happy with your starting team, but I probably wouldn't do. I get rid of Patterson probably, unless you had someone else you were happy to start. Don't mind Patterson, Almiron to Fernandes, Shaw, but Mitrovic and Nketiah. It's hard to say if that's a good move without seeing the rest of your team really. Yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka is a bit of a risk, but you've already recognised that you're hoping he starts both of the games. The thing with me with Wan-Bissaka is I just don't know how long Dalot is out of the team for. I've got a feeling that Dalot is going to be fit for the Leeds fixture, and he could work his way back into the team. I'm just going to have a check actually. Is Dalot back training? I'll pull up Twitter and have a look, see what his fitness status is. Because if Dalot's like completely wiped out, then I'm going to go. I think Wan-Bissaka is a good move. Let's see if there's any update on it. So this is a Metro article. Bruno Fernandes reveals Dalot is close to United return. So Dalot returned to training on Thursday. So I think my opinion is looking quite accurate, to be honest, that he could well be back. If anyone's new to the stream, by the way, you're very, very welcome. Please make sure you like if you're enjoying spending your deadline countdown with me, and subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. I make 2 or 3 FPL videos a week, depending on how much there is to talk about. But subscribe to the channel and you can watch more of me week on week. What I thought I'd do is just, like a news channel does. If you're ever like home ill or, I don't know, you've just got nothing to do, you stick the news on for like 2 hours and they just repeat the same stories 5 or 6 times. Well, that's what I'm going to do with the content on this stream. So we're going to start off going back to the team like injury news. So I've got a few teams that I think would be of interest and some key players that are either injured but coming back into the team or were doubts or what have you. Man United first. We got Luke Shaw. He got back into the team for the Forest game, played full 90, so he's back fit. I also thought this picture was worth sharing to show that both Sancho and Martial are back for Man United now. Don't think Sancho's going to get any game time against Crystal Palace or Leeds, but I do think Martial could probably start both of the games. Might not play, definitely not going to play 90 minutes in both, but I think he's favoured above Weghorst for Ten Hag, so I think he's going to play both. And then we've got the Newcastle news. I've got a really bad feeling about the impact that Bruno Guimaraes being out of the team is going to have on Newcastle defence. I think he's so integral to that Newcastle's team, like genuinely their best player. And he's out until the 4th of March. He's off all month with that suspension. So I think that's going to have a real impact on the Newcastle defence. So that's just the point I wanted to make. If you can't read the Man City prediction team, that's Luke Disable, who seems to be the best Man City predictor, or the most prevalent. He's gone for an interesting 3-4-3 team. Grealish, Haaland, Mahrez as the front three. Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri and Lewis in the midfield. And then Ake, Laporte and Akanji in defence. And also just a note to say that John Stones is going to be out between 3 weeks and 1 month with his injury. And then I don't think it's any news really now. Everyone knows that Rodrigo's out for 2 months after his injury against Accrington Stanley. Already got De Gea, Shaw and Rashford. Is it worth attempting to transfer in Bruno? No, absolutely not. That's a good 3 to have from United. I think De Gea is obviously going to play both games. I think Man United have got a really good chance of keeping 2 clean sheets. And 2 clean sheets for Man United is the equivalent of Bruno Fernandes getting 2 attacking returns in the 2 games. So I think it's worth just keeping the 3 you've got, mate. Thank you, Peter G. I was just having a joke about the news. And then we got some expected point stats. So top of the list, we got Rashford. You'll have to discount the players that are injured in this list. I took the screenshot yesterday before the Rodrigo news is out, so just forget he's on this list. We got Rashford on 12.6, Fernandes, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Anthony, Casemiro. Keep bigging him up. I think he's a better option than quite a lot of those players on that list, to be honest. I think he's got a really good chance of doing well this week. Jack Harrison and David De Gea. Next up was just a view of the goal involvement stats, so goal scoring percentage and goal involvement odds. Rashford tops both of the lists. Haaland's in second for goal scoring, and you can see the 2 lists there. And then clean sheet odds, we got Arsenal and Man United. I don't know why Man United are ranked 4th when they've got a 55% chance of keeping a clean sheet in the first fixture. But yeah, you can see there, 55 and 41 for United. To be honest, I think they can quite easily keep 2 clean sheets in 2 games this double game week. Arsenal against Everton, back to keep a clean sheet. Brighton, 52% clean sheet odds against Bournemouth. Newcastle on 50 against West Ham. Like I said, I think that's going to be impacted by the lack of Bruno Guimaraes. Chelsea, Villa, Brentford, Liverpool and Man City. They're probably the rest of the teams I think a clean sheet could come from. The rest, I'm really not sure they've got the capability to keep a clean sheet. Like Leeds, I'm not going anywhere near their defence. Maybe Meslier, just for the saves you could pick up in both games. But yeah, I really wouldn't go near Leeds' defence. Some fixture news. We all know we've got the double this week. 23 is going to be a double for City and Arsenal. We're going to have blanks in 25 for United, Brentford, Newcastle and Brighton. But a potential double game week for Liverpool and Arsenal, which is really exciting. 26 and 27, Brighton could have a double game week. 28, we're going to have lots of blanks, although Arsenal are confirmed to have a game that fixture, so they won't be blanking. Some doubles expected for the teams you see there in 29, and then a blank in 32, and then some more doubles coming in 34 and 37. And then a chip strategy. So I keep plugging him because I think he's one of the best FPL YouTubers there are. But FPL Raptor made a great video. I haven't linked him in the description, but you can check it out for yourself. He goes through all the potential chip strategies that you can use, and I have picked out from his video what I think the best chip strategy is, and you can see it there. Unfortunately, already used my triple captain in game week 20, but I think it's really best used on Rashford this week or Haaland next week. Boo Boo, bench 1, White, Botman, Wilson, Martinelli, or Mitoma. I think this week I'd bench Botman. Like I was just saying about the Newcastle defence, I think they're going to be impacted by no Bruno Guimaraes. Callum Wilson thinks a great option every week. He could easily score against anyone, and he takes the penalties, I believe. Don't think he's going to be under threat for starting from Isak just yet. And I think Botman could concede. So I think Botman probably the one I'd take out of that lot. And ultimately, what's his upside like? You're just hoping for a clean sheet. So yeah, that's probably the way I'd go. We could do, if you want to have a quick look, we could do a predicted points comparison of them. Thanks, Spartans. I'm not going to have one of those incidents again, don't worry. Hope not. That'd be typical of me, wouldn't it? Just get carried away on the stream and then just forget. I appreciate you joining, mate, as always. Thank you very much. And yeah, wishing your family well, mate. So there's... why can't I bring in Mitoma? So there's Mitoma, and you wanted Callum Wilson as well. So let's have a look for him. And Botman's got to come in as well. Okay, so there are the predicted points of the players you've asked for, mate. So Wilson's the lowest, but there's only 0.1 in it, and I just think he's got more upside than Botman. So it's probably worth going for Wilson, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd bench Botman. Martinelli, more points than... Yeah, I'd bench Botman, I think. Hopefully those numbers back it up as well. I know Wilson's got the lowest, but I just think the upside's there. I think you were in my stream, Booby, when I brought in Wilson before the World Cup, before his game where he got his 2 goals and 2 assists, and the game crashed before I could make the transfer. I'm sure you probably remember that. What I'm actually going to do is pull up the actual FPL game now, just so you can see my disaster class of a team. Oh no, I wasn't showing you my I wasn't showing you the screen when I was going through all the players. There you go. Here's the comparison. I'll do it again so you can see it, mate. My apologies. I've got so many screens going on, and I'm still a bit of an amateur at streaming, so you'll have to forgive me. So I was doing a points comparison. It's Botman, wasn't it? So yeah, that's your lot. So I did a points comparison of all these players. Botman was slightly higher than Wilson. Wilson had 4.9 expected points. But like I was saying, I just think the upside's there with Wilson, that I'd probably start him over Botman, and Botman would be the one to make way. I think that's how I'd play it. Oh, don't talk to me about Callum Wilson, mate. That was an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. And then I brought him in the week after anyway, and he blanked. Oh no, he didn't blank. He got ill. He got ill and then didn't feature. Don't talk to me about that. And I brought Foden in the week before as well, who then didn't play for like 4 weeks consecutively. Yeah, had a bit of a nightmare there. But yeah, let me know if you've got any more questions. It doesn't even have to be FPL or football related. I like all kinds of sports. I've got all kinds of things to talk about. So it doesn't have to be FPL related. Talk to me about anything. I do need to head out in a second and just fill up my water bottle as well, because I'm running a bit low. I think I've covered everyone's questions that asked one. Yeah, I think I have. I do, like I was saying, I do really like the Man United defence this week for people. So much so that I think an alternative to De Bruyne to Fernandes for me is Cancelo to a Man United defender, and then maybe just benching Mitrovic. I could well do that, but then I'm bringing in a player that's going to blank, so I don't know. We'll see. I just think Bruno Fernandes now playing in that number 10 position, he's a great option this week. I made a few videos in the past saying I didn't really think he was that good. And his underlying numbers are actually quite poor, but that's just because he's been playing in like a deeper position. He's been playing like in the midfield 3, so yeah, I think I really like him for this week. Sky question: hold Silva or double up on Arsenal defence? I don't know enough about the fixtures in Sky, mate. What I'll do quickly, should we just have a look, see if there's a fixture gain to be had. So obviously, if you're talking Thiago Silva, I'd absolutely hold him tonight because I think he's one of the best captains of the evening. And I'm just going to check if there are any fixture gains. Don't really look like it, does it? Like Chelsea to Arsenal, what's that? A 4 for 3. And the Chelsea fixtures are Fulham, West Ham, Southampton, Tottenham, Leeds, Leicester. The Arsenal ones are Everton, Brentford, Man City, Villa. I think I just hold Thiago Silva. I just don't see enough benefit in that transfer, personally. But if your gut tells you that Chelsea are crap and you think Arsenal are going to keep clean sheets and get passing bonus every game, then fine. But I'm also not convinced that the... I forgot that there. I'm also not convinced that the Arsenal players are getting passing bonus every game or consistently enough. Whereas with Thiago Silva, you've got a baseline of 5 points pretty much every game. And I really like that about him. And he's not done it this season yet, but his like goal threat I think is really high. Like the commitment he shows towards going for headers from corners and free kicks is pretty ridiculous. So yeah. What's everyone's plans for the weekend, by the way? What are you up to either tonight or Saturday, Sunday? After this, I've just got back from holiday a couple of weeks ago. I spent a few weeks in Indonesia. Feeling very fortunate, but I've not seen any of my friends here in Bristol for a few weeks, so I'm going to go to the pub tonight and see some of my pals, which would be nice. Imagine Dragons. Oh, that's wicked. That's so good. Where are you seeing them two, mate? Is that a big like arena jobby or a smaller venue? I imagine they can fill arenas now, can't they? One of my mates is absolutely obsessed with Imagine Dragons. I've got absolutely nothing against them, but just because he told us he was really into them, we just rip it out of him now every time we see him. But yeah, nothing, no disrespect. They're a really good band. You'll have a wicked time, mate. Are there any more like F1 car reveals coming up this weekend as well? I saw that there's a Haas one, isn't there? Which looks like a Haas, but slightly different. Obviously, the very disappointing Red Bull car reveal. So funny. Jake French. Do you prefer Almiron to Odegaard / Saka or Mitrovic to Nketiah? I think I prefer Almiron to Odegaard or Saka. I think Mitrovic, looking at his fixtures, obviously got Chelsea today, not the ideal fixture, but then coming up, he's got Forest, Brighton, Wolves, Brentford. I think I'd go for. I think I'd go Almiron to Odegaard / Saka. I think Almiron's form has really dropped off. And I don't think he's a great option anymore. Whereas Mitrovic, I just think, I know he hasn't scored that many recently, don't think that's not for a want of trying, and he's just still on the penalties. So yeah, still really like Mitrovic. Oh mate, that's amazing. Filling a stadium. Oh, that'd be so good. That's amazing. Jason, what are my transfer plans? I'm thinking, mate, I've got one free transfer. You can see all my stats there, actually. It's all on the screen. I think I'm just going to go De Bruyne to Bruno. I was very hesitant about making a transfer at the start of the week. Just thought it'd probably be better off rolling, but I think Bruno's definitely going to play in like the number 10 position this week, which I think makes him a really attractive option. I was put off a little bit by Bruno because his underlying numbers have not been that good this season, but I do think that's because he's been playing a deeper role, and I think this double game week he's probably going to play as a number 10, so yeah, I think I'm going to go De Bruyne to Bruno. Start Mitrovic or Botman. That's a really tough call, in my opinion. It's really tough. So predicted points will definitely say Botman. I think Botman's on 5, isn't he, this week? But the thing is with Newcastle is they do not have Bruno Guimaraes anymore, and I don't think that's being factored in enough, how much of an impact not having him will have on their team. And Bowen is in really good form. So I'm not entirely sure Newcastle are going to keep a clean sheet. I'm also not convinced that Mitrovic is going to score against Chelsea either, because Chelsea are looking really quite solid at the back. And I think Badiashile and Thiago Silva can do a good job on him. I think it's really close. I don't. Do I have an opinion? Should we flip a coin? I'll see if I've got a coin, and we'll flip the coin, and that'll be my guess. Because this is how all the best decisions are made. Let's see if I've got a coin in it. Hang on. I do. Right, tell me, heads or tails for Mitrovic? Oh, sorry, dropped my coin. Heads or tails for Mitrovic, and I'll flip it. Heads Mitrovic. All right, mate. 2 seconds. Just sorting out my little money box here. Well, this is how you make all the best decisions, isn't it? Oh, the coin has landed on heads. There you go. Decided, mate. The coin has spoken. Queenie, who unfortunately has now left us, has told you to go for Mitrovic. So there you go. Genuinely though, like that's such, honestly, those 50-50 calls, I don't think there's anything between them. I know the predicted points are saying Botman on top, but I think, like I was saying, Bruno Guimaraes is going to have a real impact not being in the team, and I think it's a 50-50. So that's how you make 50-50 calls, in my opinion. My coin flipping technique will improve at some point, because I couldn't even catch it. It just like landed on my desk, but it landed on heads, so there you go. Any other 50-50 calls people want the coin of truth to decide? Queenie can help you. Chelsea spending spree, mate. Honestly, I know people are like they're knocking them. I think they've done some really clever business. They've found a really innovative way to get around the financial fair play rules. By giving these young players such long contracts. Obviously, they take a risk that the players aren't going to pay off. I completely get that, but I think they've done really good like business from like a pure financial business sense. I think they've done a good job, and I don't think any of the players they've signed you can really knock. I think they're all good players. That's my opinion on it, anyway. I think they've got some very business savvy people. I think they're giving players really long contracts, and they're probably paying the transfer fees over really long installments as well, which does mean that the transfers, they're taking a bet on the fact that they will pay off, because I'm not sure how long they can keep the spending up, but it has meant I'm pretty sure that they can spend more money in this window. I think Mudryk and Enzo Fernandez are on like 7.5-year deals or something like that. yeah, I think that's how they get around it. And I think it's innovative and new and different, and why not? I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. We'd all want our clubs to spend 300 million in the January transfer window if we could, wouldn't we? So the question is just whether are the players any good. I think they've probably overpaid on Enzo Fernandez, in my opinion. I think they could have just signed Caicedo, who's just as good for less money. Like, the difference between Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, is it that big? I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of Enzo Fernandez. How good is he? I'm not sure how good he actually is. Ben Vlogs, I am a Bristol City season ticket holder. Ashton Gate is like 500 yards that way, so I'm not a big championship watcher other than Bristol City games, but I've seen probably 15 games. How many games have they played at home? Probably like 10 games at home now, so I've watched 10 championship football games. McLaren lineup be interesting. They were my favourite team, but I just gone off him a little bit now. I really like Lando. I nearly called him Nando's then. I really like Lando, but Ricciardo was my favourite driver, and it's just such a shame to see him being let go. So I think it'd be interesting to see how good Piastri is against Lando. If he holds his own against Lando better than Ricciardo did, then fair play. But I think Daniel just didn't suit the dynamics of the McLaren car. I think when Ricciardo, I think it's all about the front end of the vehicle, isn't it? When Ricciardo has a car that has a better front end, he tends to perform really well. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how good Piastri is against Lando. And I think Daniel will be getting a seat in 2024 as well. So I'm not too worried about him. I think having a year off will do good for him. I think he'll come back refreshed and hungry to go again and forgotten about the McLaren trauma. And let's not forget, he's the only one that's won a race for McLaren. When the chips were down, like properly down, he was better than Lando, and he got the win. And then when Lando in Sochi could have had his win, he bottled it and didn't pit when he needed to, and he bottled the win. But Daniel didn't. So I know, obviously, over the long run, Lando did better, but when the chips were down, Daniel still did the business. Sorry, I talked a lot then, so I'm just catching up with the chat. If I get Bruno in for KDB and Odegaard in for Almiron, I'll still have 1.4 in the bank. Since Bruno blanks in 25, I was thinking about getting KDB back in, but I can't afford it. What do you think? I think you can do better than KDB anyway, to be honest. Like, I don't think KDB is the best midfield option in the game. I think he's great for next week because Man City double, but based on his form, I don't think he's been all that amazing. What's his previous points? Like, I don't think he's ripped it up at all, has he? Points history. Just say that he's got 2 assists in 2 games, but he's not been he's not been lighting it up too much, has he? Look at all that. I think he could probably do better than De Bruyne, so I wouldn't worry too much. And in game week 25, another thing. What's Salah's price at the moment? Another thing about game week 25 is Liverpool have a double. So Salah's a bit more. So you might want to go for like a Liverpool midfielder for their double. I wouldn't worry too much about not being able to bring De Bruyne back in. Would you consult the coin? Oh, Mitrovic v Almiron. Oh, mate, I'd go Mitrovic, by the way. I don't think that's 50-50. But if you would like, I'll go for the coin again. In fact, should we use an Indonesian coin? Hang on. I've got a very special coin in my room somewhere. It'd be in my bag, I think. Bear with, chaps. Bear with. Oh, it's a bit crummy. It's probably diseased. Here is 500 Indonesian rupiah. Is there a head or a tail on this one? So you got the leaf or the crest. So I'm gonna say, or the bird. It's not really heads or tails. I'm going to say, would you like Mitrovic to be the bird or the leaf? And then we do the coin of truth. Bird or leaf. Or the other way around, I don't know. It's really light coin as well. It feels like it's made of plastic. But yeah, it's got genuine Indonesian muck on it. Look, there you go. Sam Greenwood. I don't even know if Rico Lewis is going to start this week. Mitro gets the leaf. All right then. We'll do the Premier League ref style where he just lets it land on the floor. And it has landed on the leaf side. So Mitrovic, mate. Just to double confirm. See, the coin's always right. The coin is always right. Unfortunately, my bladder's probably got another 10 minutes that I need to dip for a quick loo break, but we're getting there, aren't we? Done nearly an hour and a half already. It's absolutely flown by. I really enjoyed doing this for a bit longer. And yeah, I appreciate you all taking part in the chat as well. It's lovely to, I really enjoyed doing a stream. And we have some really decent views as well, so I just appreciate everyone joining, really. If you're enjoying it, you enjoy the coin flips and my terrible chat, please leave a like rating on the stream. And yeah, subscribe to my channel for some more FPL content. Did I say, yeah, Liverpool looking, don't know quite how likely they are, but they could well double in 25. Liverpool and Arsenal could double. Is it a low probability? We'll have a look. I might be wrong. If you go on the old Krellin and have a look. Oh, mate, I'm not sure I'd go Cancelo to James this week, but I really like Reece James. I think you need to give him 2 or 3 games back to just solidify the fact that he's recovered from whatever injuries he's got. But once he strings 2 or 3 games together, I think he's a great option. I just think right now it's too much for a risk because he's probably just going to get injured straight away, and you just hate yourself for that. Right. So here's the Krellin stats. I need that screen. There we go. Oh, thank you, NCK Footy. I appreciate that. James Whitelock, absolutely not. I think Ferguson's got one of the highest goal scoring odds this week. I'll show you that in a second. So I'd stick with him. So here you are. I'm colourblind, right? So I struggle with these sorts of charts. So I think this Liverpool one here is a possible double game week of 35 to 65%. So if that's what that's saying, 35 to 65. I didn't realise Ferguson was injured. That's new news to me. Sorry about that. I don't have him in my team, so I'm not too savvy with all that. Is it Nathan Ferguson? No. God, I'm getting all kinds of messed up now. Oh, of course, yeah. Of course it did. The challenge from Fabinho. What's it saying? So they're going to make a late call on him. I'm not sure I'd do that, James. Even still, I think it depends really. It depends what's on your bench, I suppose. If you've got absolutely nothing on your bench, then take the -4. But if you've got something that could come in and cover, I probably wouldn't bother. Ultimately, I've got Nonto, right? So I can't really talk too much. But is he going to really go off this game week? Like, I would be happy with an assist out of the 2 games. Like, I genuinely take that. And I think that's probably his ceiling is 1 goal across the 2. That might come back and bite me. But is that worth a -4? Not sure. Best Cancelo replacements. He's got White, Trippier, Shaw, and Patterson are the same as me. Cancelo replacements. I think quite like Man United defence this week if you're not already tripled up. Otherwise, I think you just go Rico Lewis. Don't mind that. Or you could just go for the Newcastle defence or some Brighton defence. I know they all blank in 25, but it's better than having a player that's not playing at all. Start 2 or 3. Burn, White and Tony. I'd start White and Tony. I think Newcastle are going to concede this week without Bruno Guimaraes. Someone asked me to do a coin challenge as well. Odegaard or Saka? I'll do that in a second, mate. I'll do that now. Right, let me know, mate. So this Indonesian coin has a bird or a leaf. So Saka, do you want him to be the leaf or the bird? I feel like an optician. You know when you go to the opticians and they're like, is it green or red? But yeah, just decide. Saka leaf. All right. It wasn't actually you that said it, Jake. That's a bit cheeky. Saka leaf. Okay. You got the bird, says Odegaard. The scummy coin says Odegaard. Oh, you asked the same question, did you? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Odegaard for both of you. Sorted. Is it worth triple captain Bruno as a differential? I don't think so, personally. I think you either go Rashford this week or Haaland next week. I actually think Haaland next week triple captain's a nice differential way to go, because not many people are going to go for that. I don't think they've either gone for it already in 20 or they're going for it this week on Rashford. So I quite like Haaland next week, and you can see this is Draft Hound. Good free to use website which tells you the predicted points for your FPL team for the game week. Not sure if you can see future game weeks like I can, but if you look at the predicted points, Haaland next week is predicted to get more than Rashford this week. So if you want to go different, I think I wouldn't triple captain Rashford this week and just give it to Haaland next week. I think that's probably the way to go, rather than Fernandes. Apologies if Fernandes just goes mental this week, but I think that's the way to go. Now, as a YouTube content creator, I will refuse to make any Greenwood-related jokes. I don't want him to play for Man United again, but my pessimistic view of the world of football is that he'll probably, I'm not sure, sign for an English club. I don't know. He's going to play football again. I'm sure of it. There's money to be made out of him, and I think he's going to play football again. I don't think he'll play for Man United again. I won't say any details about the videos or anything, but the videos that his girlfriend put up are pretty damning. Even if they couldn't prove anything in court, right? They are awful. So I just don't think based on that he can play for Man United again. I wouldn't want to be in the club's position though, and having to deal with that. But I just don't think he can play for United again. Whether he signs for a Premier League game, I guess, is up to the ethics of the Premier League teams. And likewise for teams abroad. I think he's probably more likely to go abroad though. That would be my view. Yeah. I was talking, and I don't want to talk too much about it because it's just a horrible situation. But I was talking with my mates about it last night about the whole deal. And sometimes in life you say things that you regret, tell a bad joke or do something silly. But the video of him talking to his girlfriend, it's an audio recording, isn't it? That's not a mistake. That's not something you can say sorry about. It's just not something you do as a mistake. It's so awful. And I just don't think no one's ever going to forget that. And it's not something just saying sorry can get rid of, I don't think. So yeah, I just think it's completely destroyed his reputation as a player for me, and I just don't think he can come back from that. Yeah, there was also pictures as well, mate. Obviously with the pictures, and I don't mean to sound like I'm going to sound very like legal, but the pictures don't prove that he did it, but the voice recording proves that he did it. You know, it's undeniable that he and her were in the same room together when that happened. But the pictures, I don't know. I believe them, but you can't say it's actual evidence because I guess he's not in the picture with her. I don't know. I'm not going to get too much into it. You can disagree with me or not. It's not my place to say because I don't really know all the facts, but I'm just saying everything I've seen on Twitter. But yeah, I think he'll just go to a team with no ethics. I agree. Jeff Johns, would you go James, Mitrovic, Trossard to Mings, Nonto, Bruno? Not sure I would, because James is going to get back in the Chelsea team soon, and I think he might be a good option. But then you got Trossard, who's probably not going to play. Yes, but I'd try to minimise the hits you took by using your bench. I don't think I'd just do 3 transfers that quickly. Yeah, I don't know if what I said was correct then, Ben. I sort of got a bit carried away with the Greenwood situation, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. What are my transfers this week? I am thinking of just doing De Bruyne to Fernandes, to be honest. I'm getting more and more sold on Bruno as the minutes go by, really, and I think it's a really good idea. Cheers, Jake French, mate. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for taking part and chatting. Hope you enjoyed the coin flipping and stuff. And yeah, best of luck, mate. Hope you have a good game week, pal. It's a tough one, Jeff. I'm not sure what to advise. I don't really think Mings is a great option. I'm not overly keen on him. Nonto and Bruno, definitely. But would I do James to Tyrone Mings? I think you can do better than Mings. How much is Mings in terms of price? Just for the record. Just have a quick look. Thoughts on Mark Goatbridge? I don't watch him too much anymore, but I used to and quite liked him. He's just an easy watch. Don't really have much more to say on Goldbridge, really. I just thought he was an easy watch. He's quite entertaining. I don't think you can deny that he's an entertaining man. So we were looking at defenders, Villa, just to see how much Mings was. Mings is 4.3. It's really tough, that. Maybe Mings is the best of the lot. And he doesn't blank, does he? So maybe go for Mings. I'm thinking of bringing in Bamford for a -4 and benching Matoma. I don't think I'd do that. I think I'd just play Matoma this week. He's predicted to do really well. The predicted points he's got in... the predicted points that Mitoma's got in FPL, he's predicted to get 6 points, which is a return. So I'm not sure I'd be doing that. I wouldn't bother with Bamford. I'd just go Mitoma. Kane or Botman. Botman's definitely. Well, let's have a look at the predicted points. See, Harry, I don't know how long you've been in the stream for, but I could do a coin flip prediction for you and let the Indonesian coin of truth decide for you. But yeah, looking at predicted points, Kane's on 5.1, Botman's on 5. I've been saying all along with Newcastle, I think the Bruno G injury is going to have a real impact on them. Bowen's on form for Newcastle. I think Newcastle could concede this game against West Ham, and I think Kane's got a decent record against Man City. I get the vibe that Tottenham are a bit of a bogey team for City, so I think I'd go for Kane over Botman. And I'll use the coin. Are you using the triple captainship? No, unfortunately not. I used it in Game Week 20 because I'm a mug. So no, I don't have my chip left. If I did, I think it's either Rashford, obviously, this week, or Haaland next week. So, Harry, you have to decide if the bird is or the leaf, because that's the two sides of the Indonesian coin. You got a leaf or a grotty bird with some Indonesian dirt on it. So, yeah, leaf or bird for Kane, and I'll do the flip for you. Thoughts on Bowen as a future option? Yeah, I really like him. I think he's in good form. I think the fixtures for Kane is the bird. I think the fixtures for West Ham are pretty good as well, from memory. Oh, no! I prefer Kane, by the way, just for the record, but it landed on the leaf. I'm just going to nip to the loo because I've been on for an hour and a half and drunk an entire litre of water, so I'll be back in a sec. Everyone leaves the stream because I'm away. Oh, sorry, chaps. Could it not be a good idea to save the triple captain? Equally a good opportunity. I think really the thing with that triple captain is I feel it's best used on like Rashford at the moment because he's in amazing form, and obviously Haaland just for how good he's been this season. I had the Krellin fixtures up actually, didn't I? I don't think we have a prediction of what those doubles are going to be and whether Man City have another double. That would be the only thing for me. So I think if you're waiting, it would have to be on Erling Haaland, and he'd have to be very likely to have a double. I don't think we know that info yet. If you know more about the fixtures than me, then fair play. But do you see my logic? I think if you wanted to play the triple captain and wait, I think the only one you want to play it on is Haaland, really, just for the upside of points. So yeah, that would be my view. Oh, blimey, I better make my transfer in a second before the deadline hits and I forget all about it. So I'm going to do that now. I think I've decided I'm going to go for... let's get the zoom right. I think I'm going to do De Bruyne to Fernandes. I've lost 0.1 million on De Bruyne today as well, just by pissing about, not making a decision. But yeah, I like it, Joe. I think these double game weeks are times when the chips are very valuable for gaining points. There you go. Fernandes is in. He's in the team. We've still got an hour till the deadline, I think, haven't we? Thoughts on Lee's defender? Nah, it's a no from me, mate, I'm afraid. I've got the clean sheet odds here for you. Lee's just absolute garbage, in my opinion, defensively. I don't think they've got a clean sheet in them. Don't mind push Meslier because of his saves potential. But, yeah, looking at those clean sheet odds, mate, and, yeah, I just don't back Lee's to keep a clean sheet. The only one I would say... Who's their new signing? I can't remember what his name is, but I was listening to a pod this week where they said their new, I think he's from Poland, their new defender, he might take free kicks and penalties. Don't think he'll take the pens for Leeds, but I think he could take free kicks. So just one thing to think about, but I don't think I'd pick a Leeds defender, I'm afraid. My favourite food in the world is the curry house in my hometown do like this special curry. It's like the house special, and that's my favourite food in the world. And I have that. Every time I go to the Indian, I have chips instead of rice with my curry as well, because why not? Chips taste better than rice. So yeah, that's it. The house special curry at my curry house back home is my favourite meal in the world, with obviously poppadoms and naan bread coming out of my ears. Yeah. And straight after this stream, mate, another interesting, actually, I've taken, I was watching it was a YouTube short of Man City players and the food that they eat. And Riyad Mahrez has a pasta recipe that all the Man City players eat before a game. And I've started using it, and it's really good. It's nothing complicated. It's just chicken fried up to like the point where it goes a bit black, like quite well cooked. Just put a load of seasoning on it, bit of garlic, bit of black pepper, bit of salt. That's all you need to do. Cook it with some caramelized onions. I don't caramelize my onions, I just cook them. So chicken and onion in a pan, mix it in with some pasta and loads of cheese, and it's brilliant. And that's what I've got for dinner after this stream. Start Mahrez or Mitoma? I think I'd start Mitoma. Cal, if you've just joined the stream, by the way, I have been using the coin of truth to make the 50-50 decisions. So if you would like the coin of truth to be flipped and decide for you, let me know. But my opinion is Mitoma. And we all, the Mahrez pasta, that is a factor. But yeah, have a YouTube, because any old mug can cook it. Like, I'm genuinely serious. It's really easy. So yeah, have a YouTube of Mahrez pasta. It's really, really quite good. I can do the predicted points for you as well, Cal. Give us 2 seconds. I'll just whack them in this little draft here. No, Ben, there's no sauce, but because it's so cheesy, that's all you need. Just need the cheese, mate. See, I thought that too when I was like, that's going to be really dry, that is, but they just need the cheese. And you can also, if you want to add a bit of zhuzh, I don't know what that word was, you can take some of the pasta water when you're frying up the pasta and the chicken together and whack that on to add a bit of taste. So we were doing Mahrez versus Mitoma. Yeah, Mitoma's going to lead it then, isn't he? Yeah, so Mitoma's back to get 6 points against Bournemouth on the predictions, and he's going to play. Like, there's no doubt Mitoma's starting against Bournemouth, whereas Mahrez, you're playing the pet roulette, so I think it's Mitoma. City players cholesterol, yeah. I probably overdo it on the cheese more than the Man City players do. And to be honest, cheese is good for you in moderation, and the amount of running they do, I think, is fine. Would I do Mitro to Nketiah, Salah to Bruno, and Almiron to Mitoma for a -4? I would probably do all of those moves but Almiron to Mitoma. Or I'd leave Mitrovic in my team, and I'd do Salah to Bruno and Almiron to Mitoma. I'd keep Kane. I think, yeah. I like Mitrovic to... I like Almiron to Mitoma and Salah to Bruno as your 2 transfers. And then you can potentially bring in Nketiah next week if you want to. Kane to Nketiah and Almiron to Bruno. Ooh, that's a good one as well. Yeah, I think I'd do Kane to Nketiah, Almiron to Bruno. I like that. And then I'd bring Kane back when Nketiah's not in the team. But yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, keeping Salah this week, fine. Wouldn't be worried too much. I know Liverpool haven't been playing that well, but it's just Salah, isn't it? This is my current team. Kepa, Shaw, Trippier, Botman, KDB, Rashford, Almiron, Saka, Kane, Ferguson, Haaland, bench of Ward, White, Andreas, Bruno, 2 free transfers. Any suggestions? So he's done KDB to Bruno. Just roll, mate. Or maybe, actually, I'd consider Almiron to Matoma. It's probably what I'd do. Because they both blank in 25, so there's nothing too much loss from doing that. And Matoma's predicted to literally score a goal this week according to the algorithm. So yeah, but he's only 5.1 million, so it doesn't matter. Like Almiron blanks too, so oh, of course, yeah. Ben's right. I forgot about that. I don't get it right every time. Ben's right, by the way. I'll admit I'm wrong. Ben's right. Ferguson to Nketiah, definitely. No question. He's absolutely right. I'd do that. Thanks, Ben. You saved me there. My brain's too fried from all the flipping of coins and stuff. Yeah, he's absolutely right. What rank am I? Oh, I can't show you. There's my rank. I'm 589k, so I'm definitely not lighting the world up. If you're asking me, and Ben's better at FPL than me, clearly, as well. Cue everyone turning off the stream because they've seen my rank is over 500,000. We can let the coin of truth decide who is the best FPL player. Well, that's amazing, Christopher. I'm happy for you. I wish I could say the same. But yeah, good for you. What would you put it down to? Like, I guess during the wildcard, you must have gone for players that have done really well. And NJM, by the way, the game is all about playing it your own way. So if you would rather not do something because your gut instinct tells you to do something else, then just go with your gut. Because you'll kick yourself more if you follow someone's advice against like your own feeling, and it not pay off. So go with your gut, mate. Just go with what you want to do. If in that case. How'd you go? I love that. Fair play. I wish I did the same because I'd have probably been a lot better too. Oh, Kane's fantastic. Like, yeah, Kane. He's the second best asset in FPL in my opinion. I know he doesn't have all the doubles, but he's just been so consistent. What was my biggest mistake this season? One of them was genuinely I had an incident in game week 13. It was one of the times when we were waiting for the Man City early team news. It's all on my deadline stream. I clipped it up and put it on Twitter somewhere. But one of my transfers was going to be to bring in Callum Wilson. And it was ahead of the week. Obviously, I didn't know this at the time, but it was ahead of the week where he got 2 goals and 2 assists. And I was taking out, might have been Solanke or Mitrovic it was Mitrovic for Callum Wilson. And with 10 minutes to go to the deadline, the FPL game froze and I couldn't bring Callum Wilson in. And then Callum Wilson went on to score 2 goals and 2 assists, score 19 points in the game week. And I was blocked from bringing him in by the deadline crash of the game. So I'd be 19 points better off, which is probably 300, 400,000 places in this. So yeah, that was what happened to me. So yeah, in the nicest way possible. I remember whenever I've had a good rank in a fantasy game, I always say it's a bit down to luck. It is, isn't it? That you can't deny there's a luck element to it. And those that do, I don't agree with you. Obviously, there's an element of skill. Consistently finishing really high positions that shows your skill. But obviously, there's a bit of luck to getting in a really, really top position. There has to be. It simply has to be. That's just the way it works. Oh, Salah and Nunez, mate. Honestly, I'm so glad I didn't go for Nunez. I think I just got away with one. Like we're saying, luck. It's luck that I didn't have him in my team. And I would have held him throughout the whole time as well because he was getting so close to scoring. Like the amount of chances he was taking, I wouldn't have sold him. And I was think on videos I was telling people not to sell him, but yeah, it's obviously backfired. But it's just one of those. And I don't think anyone could have predicted how bad Liverpool have gotten this season. Like, they are really, really bad. So yeah, it's all sort of lessons. Like, if there are decisions you've made that you wouldn't make again, then that's a lesson to take away. But I think like picking Salah and Nunez, I'd probably do that again in that same situation with just how promising they were looking. It's just that it didn't pay off. So yeah. Oh, I can imagine, Christopher, you must have done to get that level of rank. And yeah, Mahrez, great pick. Great pick. Right, when it gets to 6 o'clock, so I'm pretty sure, just to confirm, because I've been on for so long, yeah, deadline's at 6:30, so I'm going to lock in my transfer at 6 o'clock. KDB to Fernandes is going to be locked in. The thing is, right, with the Man City team, like Disable saying he's absolutely nailed completely, but that's literally just to start this game. Like, if he has a bad game, does something stupid, he's not going to play the next one. That's how Pep works. You just know that's the case, so he might well be nailed to start this game, which is great. Great, and obviously he's got a double next week, so he's probably going to play one of the two at a minimum in the double. But yeah, if something happens this game, there could be something that leaves him out of the squad, you know. That's just the way it works. Lovely moves. Yep, I can't argue with that. That's brilliant. Got rid of 2 bits of deadwood and brought in 2 really good players. That's perfect. You're gonna sail up the ranks. That's a really nice couple of transfers. And yeah, good luck to you too, mate. Thanks for joining the stream. Should you bench Botman or Almiron? Sorry, you've asked this twice and I've not picked it up. I do apologise. I think it's time for the coin of truth to rear its head again, mate. Are you familiar with the coin of truth? So this is an Indonesian 500 rupiah coin, because I went on holiday to Bali a few weeks ago and took a coin back with me. So on one side, it's very grotty. There is a bird, and on the other side is a leaf. So if you tell me whether Almiron is the bird or a leaf, I will let the coin decide. Because I think it's a 50-50 call. I think Newcastle could quite easily concede, because there's no Bruno Guimaraes. Bloody hell, triple Newcastle defence. I think I'd back it if Bruno Guimaraes was fit. I think it's going to have a real impact on their team, unfortunately. Sorry to say, Christopher. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Like, if comparing Andreas and Botman's definitely the best option. So you've got to, haven't you? You've got to do that. I'm completely with you. Oh, my phone's been blowing up. I hope nothing's... it's just everyone in a WhatsApp group I'm in deciding whether they triple captain Rashford. Yeah, not 90 minutes of pure worry every week, but they haven't bloody conceded since November, so you've had a clean sheet every week so far. I think, well, when was game week 14? I can't remember what month it was. But you've pretty much had a clean sheet out of them every game then. That's mega. That's ridiculous. But yeah, that's the worst, isn't it? Like, watching a football game and you want a clean sheet. That's literally the worst case scenario, isn't it? Like, playing fantasy football. Like watching a football game and hoping the other team don't score. It's just painful. Sorry, but you talk about luck and then that's amazing. What did you get for your last person standing award? That's mega. Sorry, 2 seconds. I'm a Bristol City season 250 quid. You got 250 quid from the Mitrovic penalty miss. That's so insane. Sorry, Bristol City have drawn Man City in the Carabao or the FA Cup, and they've just announced the ticket details. So apologies. I'm just gonna check the email to see whether I need to buy a ticket right now or I'm gonna miss it. So 2 seconds. I would start Matoma, 100%. Sorry, just bear with. We don't play Premier League teams very often, especially not Man City. So I was just yeah, definitely start Matoma over Martinelli, in my opinion. Martinelli probably won't play. I'm not sure if he'll play 90 minutes with Trossard on the bench. I think Everton are going to be quite resolute defensively with Sean Dyche now. And I think Bournemouth are pretty much the whipping boys of the league, and Matoma's on fire. So I think go Matoma. Sorry, I was just checking my phone then. Apologies for that, lads. Nearly time for me to lock in my transfer. You're on wildcard. I think if I was on wildcard, I wouldn't have Mitrovic in it. I'd have Nketiah. I'd have a defender, probably Zinchenko, Odegaard and Nketiah as my 3 Arsenal. I'd definitely bring Bruno in if I had a wild card. Don't think I'd have Mitrovic in my wild card FPL team. That's a hard one then if you're on wild card, mate. If I tell you what, I made a best game week 22 wildcard team video on my YouTube channel. It's a blatant plug, but it's also very useful. If you check that out, there are no players in it that have got an injury or been transferred out. If you're on a wild card, mate, I wouldn't have Martinelli. Absolutely wouldn't have Martinelli with the minutes risk. I think I'd go Nketiah over Martinelli on a wild card, or even just Saka. That would be my opinion. I just think Martinelli's minutes are a risk now with Trossard. Whoop. Oh, I just knocked my light off. Sorry about that. I was trying to get comfortable in my chair and my ring light just fell. There we go. Yeah, I think if you were to ask my opinion of the best Arsenal triple up, I would probably say, if money was no object, it's Odegaard, Saka, and Nketiah. Or, close second, it's Zinchenko, Odegaard, and Nketiah. It's just as you said, Christopher. I think that's the best 3. And yeah, to be honest, don't mind Mahrez on the wild card. I think with 3 games in 2 weeks that he's got potentially, he's probably going to start against Tottenham. I don't think you can deny that. Then he's probably going to play at least one of the 2 games. Who would you go if I can't put Nketiah? I would go Zinchenko, Odegaard, Saka. Honestly, I think I prefer Zinchenko, yeah. He's low owned, cheaper, gets forward a lot. Has Gabriel scored this season yet? I don't think he has. People saying he's got a good goal threat, Gabriel, but I'm not sure. I really like Zinchenko. He gets forward so much, mate. His heat map, and you'll see it on that wildcard video. I found a heat map for him. Spends more time in the opposition half than he does his own. He gets involved in all the build-up, integral to how Arteta wants to play. I really like Zinchenko. Oh yeah, I reckon Zinchenko is first choice easily. I don't think Arteta is too fond of Tierney. That's why he bought Zinchenko. The Arsenal fans that I speak to, one of them said that he doesn't believe that Tierney and Martinelli link up too well together, whereas Zinchenko and Martinelli do. So that's another thing, another plus point for Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko is going to play consistently. I really do. And then Trossard and Tierney are the two light squad players. I think that's how it's going to be seen. I'll have to refer to my wildcard video, mate. I think if I was to pick 3 strikers in FPL at the moment, I'd probably go Nketiah, Kane, and Haaland. That'd be my 3. But honestly, because I can't think of building a team in my head, so I would definitely say watch the wildcard video on the channel. Right, it's time to lock in my transfer, isn't it? KDB to Bruno. There we go. 2 red players. Andreas. It's not looking great. KDB to Fernandes. Oh no, I clicked on the OBS screen instead of clicking the actual button. It's done. KDB to Fernandes is done. And there's my team. Oh. It's alright, isn't it? Yeah, I just had enough at staring at my screen, mate. I just wanted to make a decision. So I did it. It's done. Just going to tweet out my team to the world of Twitter. Yeah, give us a follow. We're at Golden Goal FF on Twitter, and then I am at Tom Hartnell FF. You'll see me in the bio of our Golden Goal account if you wanna follow us all. Oh, it's done. Whom to bench? Bloody hell, that's tough. KDB, Nketiah, Matoma, Martinelli, Tony. My gut says, of that lot, Martinelli. But let's have a look at the predicted points. Yeah, I'm glad you agree, Christopher. I think I'd bench Martinelli too. So what are we going? KDB, let's get Nketiah in. We're just going to look at the predicted points for you, bud. Martinelli. I'm not. Do I fancy Nonto for the double? I like him, and then I also think he's cheap enough that you can just bench him every week. I got him because I was selling Martial when he was injured a few weeks ago, and I think he's just a good, fun option for this week. And then you can just bench him for ongoing games. So in a way, yes, I fancy him for this week, but I don't fancy him in the long term. But I think you can just bench him and not worry too much. So we've got Nketiah in, Mitoma. Let's get rid of Rashford for Mitoma. Don't worry, this is all in draft time, so this isn't actually impacting my FPL team. Okay, so of that, I think that's everyone, isn't it? Of that lot, Martinelli and Nketiah on the lowest predicted points. And I think Martinelli, his underlying numbers are worse than Nketiah. I think draft hand is sort of underplaying Nketiah's expected points a bit. So I think Martinelli's the one to bench of that lot. And he also is probably the least likely for minutes as well. So yeah, Martinelli on the bench for me of that lot. Hopefully that's sound logic behind it as well. But if your gut says something else, it's quite a close decision. So go with your gut. I think he could jeopardise his game time. But I think most of the Leeds fans are saying Nonto plays both of these games in the double. And obviously Rodrigo is injured. So they brought one in, one's injured. So I don't really think... I think his game time is the same as before Rutter joined. Just because Rodrigo's injured. And Leeds fans are saying he's going to likely play both. Or certainly the ones I'm talking to think he's going to play both of these doubles. So... Shaniel, mate, have a good time at Imagine Dragons, and yeah, have a lovely rest of your Friday, bud. And thank you so much for joining as you do every week. Really appreciate it. You've been here for like 2 hours. That's amazing. Thank you. What I'll do, I'll go back to the actual FPL screen now because we're official. This is how we're lining up. I guess I'm going to have to go Bruno as my vice, aren't I? I think it probably makes sense to do that. I'm not overly keen on it. It's pretty good, that, Christopher, mate. My experience of poker recently, it was on my flight back home from holiday, and there was, on the in-flight entertainment, there was a poker game, and I won. There were other people on the plane were playing as well. It was quite cool. Didn't know who they were or where they were sitting, but I joined a multiplayer game and I won. So that was my poker experience. I go Mitoma, mate. He's proven now, isn't he, in the Prem is Mitoma. Mudryk, I just don't know enough about him, really. I think Mitoma, and he's cheaper as well, isn't he? He's like 2 million cheaper. So is your Friday night, mate. That sounds lovely. I think I'm going to go and have my Mares pasta for dinner and then head to one of the pubs in Bristol to catch up with some friends. So that's my evening. What would you... you got a prediction for Chelsea-Fulham? What do you think the score's going to be? Roll transfer or Mitrovic to Nketiah? I've been saying I think I'd roll it because I don't think there's enough in it this week to... I think it's a bit luxury this week, and then you make it next week when you got your two. Just the case, the thing that I think when you do make a move like that earlier, if that, because you're obviously making it for next game week. Or if you really do think he's going to blast him away in terms of points this game week, then make it. But the worst case scenario is you make a transfer like that, and I think Mitrovic is a perfectly decent option this week. You make a transfer like that, and Nketiah gets injured this week, and then you've made a transfer for a week in the future. A player gets injured, and then you've got to get rid of it. That scenario is always in my head when I think about a transfer like that. I'm obviously not predicting Nketiah to get an injury, but it's just that sort of scenario happening, or he does something stupid, gets a red card or something like that. Whereas I don't think Mitrovic is too bad an option this week. I know I think Chelsea are going to win 2-0 as well. But Mitrovic is always there, isn't he? He can always score a goal. So I think that would be my logic. And you might miss out on points, but I think you'll keep your sanity. So yeah, good logic. I'm glad we agree. And no problem, Matthew. You're very welcome. My voice is starting to go because I've been talking for 2 hours straight. I'm not well practiced with this. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching as well. I really appreciate it. I've had a few new subscribers and likes and all that. It's just great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you found me entertaining for your deadline countdown. And yeah, when I'm available, which is most times to be fair, when there's a deadline, there are occasions where I just can't make it like most people, but I'm pretty consistent when I'm in the country at doing deadline streams. So I'll definitely do one next week as well. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. More deadline streams, FPL videos. I do the lot. Multi-talented. And of course, the coin of truth is always here to help you decide your 50-50 picks. The grimy Indonesian coin of truth. But I'm going to give it a clean actually, if it's going to be used more. Oh yeah, if you're watching though, let me know what your weekend plans are. Be interested to know. See what you guys are getting up to with your free time, or maybe you're working, whatever. What I'm going to do, because I started the stream by doing this, is go through all the news ahead of the game week. I started the stream by doing this, and I've gone through it a couple of times. I'm conscious we might have some new people in the stream. So we got the Man United team news. Basically, key news is that Luke Shaw has returned. He was a bit of a doubt with an illness, but he played full 90 against Forest, so consider him to be back. And Martial and Sancho are back to full fitness. Don't think Sancho's going to feature at all, but I do think Martial may well start both the games for United. Probably won't play the full 90, but I think he's definitely in contention to start. Then on the other news that I thought was useful, Bruno Guimaraes being out for Newcastle until the 4th of March, I think is really going to impact them defensively. I think he's by far their best player, and I think it doesn't go under the radar as such, but I think he's just that good, and it's going to have a real impact on them not being in the team. I don't think that can be discredited though. Christopher, with your triple Newcastle defence, you said you've been watching every game with a bit of anxiety. I think without Bruno Guimaraes, it's even more of a worry that they're not going to keep clean sheets, in my opinion. But yeah, I could be wrong. And then here's the Man City predicted lineup. I can't tell if it's good enough quality for you to be able to read it, but this is from Luke Disable, who has a Twitter career of predicting Man City teams and getting it right most of the time. Grealish, Haaland, Mahrez, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri, Lewis, Ake, Laporte, Akanji, and obviously Ederson in goal is the prediction. And then the news has broken. Pep's confirmed it. John Stones is going to be out between 3 weeks and a month with an injury. So that's obviously unfortunate. He was, in my opinion, the most nailed of the Man City defenders, and now he's gotten injured. And then for Leeds, obviously, Rodrigo is going to be out for 2 months. And then we've got, according to my good friends at Drafthound, who I've used a lot of on this stream so far, it's a free-to-use website for basically predicted points. And it's got, when you take the paid version up, I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that, don't make any money out of doing this, but it's got an assistant manager feature. So I'll show you what that looks like. Basically, it will suggest to you the most points-bearing transfers you can make during the game week. So for me right now, Cancelo to Wan-Bissaka, because obviously Cancelo's gone, is worth the most points. That's what it's telling me to do. And here are your predicted points. We've got Rashford, Bruno, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, Rodrigo's injured, so he's not going to be on the list. A few Man United defenders, Anthony, Casemiro, Harrison and De Gea top out the list. Then goal scoring odds and goal involvement odds. Rashford tops both of them. Bruno's up there with a 52% chance of scoring and a 72% chance of being involved in a goal. And you can see the rest of the players there for yourself. And then in terms of clean sheet odds, interestingly, Man United aren't actually at the top, despite being top for game 1 of game week 22. 55% clean sheet odds. So I think it looks really good for a clean sheet. 41% for Leeds. I think personally Man United could quite easily keep 2 clean sheets in this double. And then you've got Arsenal, Brighton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa, Brentford, Liverpool, Man City. That probably ends the list of teams I think you could back to keep a clean sheet. And yeah, those are the stats that you need. Yeah, West Ham are awful, but Bowen has seemed to have found a bit of form, so who knows. But you're right, they are, on the whole, pretty awful. So of the week, not to have Bruno Guimaraes, West Ham is probably one of the teams you'd pick to play, I suppose. But yeah, time to start getting those transfers locked in, really. We've got 14 minutes left until the deadline. My team's all confirmed. Here's how I'm lining up this week. Pretty happy with it on the whole. Can't really complain. Just going to check my old Twitter on my phone a sec. I've still got Cancelo in my team. How have I ended up with Cancelo still in my team? How have I got myself into that position? It's painful, isn't it? I'm probably one of the few that still have him, that actually play FPL. It's mental. But yeah, there you go. I just couldn't justify taking him out this week. I think he's just worth leaving him in. But yeah, let me know if you've got any questions, any suggestions for my team next week, or transfers that you're thinking about, what my thoughts on. Got 13 minutes to go. I'm here to help. I've also, if you've got a 50-50 decision that you can't decide upon, I've got the coin of truth that I can flip to make the decision for you. And it's already worked on a couple of occasions. And obviously the coin of truth is always right, even when it's wrong, because I just said so. Yeah, I've been going for 2.5 hours pretty much, so I'm starting to fall a little bit, but we're trucking on. We got 12 minutes left. I'm still going strong. This time has absolutely flown by as well. I've really enjoyed it. Triple captain in Rashford is absolutely an option this week. I don't mind it at all. I do think I was quite close between Bruno and Rashford, but I think the stats overall, predicted points models, they've got Rashford on top. So I think Rashford, of this week, if you were to triple captain someone, Rashford's the best triple captain. The contrary to the Rashford triple captain argument, in my opinion, is Haaland next week. So this is Draft Hound. It shows predicted points for each player for the next 3 weeks. Rashford, I think the total at the moment is saying it's at 12.5 predicted points, or 12.7. That's 12.7, isn't it, if you add them up? Sorry, my mental maths is terrible. So Rashford in 22 is predicted 12.7 points. Haaland next week, got Villa and Arsenal, 8.4, 7.5. I think the two of those together is 15.9 compared to 12.7. So Haaland next week is predicted to score more points than Rashford this week. Make of that what you will. That's just the facts. So I do think Rashford's a good option this week. I also think just holding your triple captain until a later double game week, which is guaranteed to happen later in the season. There's that option too. Or you could go Haaland next week. I think that's an option as well. Sorry to not have a definitive opinion, but I don't think there is one. Exactly, Christopher. And I also think the point about Rashford, he's obviously been in incredible form, but I think the most he's got is a brace. I think Rashford's only had one hat-trick in his entire career, and Haaland's got, I think, 4 this season already, or something like that. So that's the thing with Haaland, is he's explosive. Like, he could score a hat-trick against, and I don't even rule it out against Arsenal. If he got rubber the green against their defenders, I think he'd quite easily score a hat-trick. So, yeah, I just think Haaland's more explosive, and that's the kind of thing you need to use your triple captain on. You're very welcome, mate. Hopefully, like I was saying, as I struggle to be definitive, and I've already used my triple captain, so I can't really talk. I used it in 20. But if I still had it, I'd probably wait till, in my opinion, I'd wait till next week to use it on Haaland. That's probably what I'd do. I'm not forming an opinion, Christopher, because I do not want to be responsible for anyone picking the wrong option. But those are the facts, aren't they? I mean, I've just said the facts. I've not said, well, they're not facts because they're predictions. But yeah, my leg's just gone dead then, so I was cross-legged. Villa are stronger under Emery, but like, it's Haaland, isn't it? I guess that's the one, like, the saving grace of this Man United double is, I think Palace and Leeds are 18th and 19th in the league for expected goals conceded. I think only, is it Forest or someone like that, or Fulham maybe, are worse. So two are literally the worst teams defensively in one game week. So, yeah. That's the contrary argument, isn't it? I'd bench Botman. Personally, I think Newcastle might concede this week, given there's no Bruno Guimaraes. I think Brighton have got Bournemouth, so that's a really good fixture. And Arsenal have got Everton. And Arsenal are full strength, and I think they'll keep a clean sheet. So I would bench Botman of that lot. I think that's what I'd do. Like I was saying, I really think the Bruno Guimaraes injury is going to impact Newcastle. I don't think there's any escaping that for them, unfortunately. Hopefully that's sound or logical advice that you can, sort of relate to. It's all the Brunos, isn't it? I don't know why I thought, is it Borat's brother is called Bruno or something like that? But yeah, I think, Bruno Guimaraes seems to be the only talking point for me. I've not seen, I don't know. I don't really have time to watch other FPL content creators, but I don't know if they've mentioned him that much. Obviously, he's not a great FPL asset, but I just think he's very impactful. And I don't think he's had enough of a mention as to how impactful not having him is going to be. Ooh, look at that. See, I've got a unique opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid one. And the importance of Newcastle defence at the moment. I'd play Ben White, mate. I've got to keep consistent with my my theory. Reason for that, Khalid, is there is no Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle. So I think Newcastle could quite easily concede, whereas Arsenal are full strength, looking really good defensively. Got Everton, who are pretty pony. I think Arsenal are more likely to keep a clean sheet than Newcastle. So for that reason, I would bench Botman. And if you look at the clean sheet odds as well, there's not much in it. But Arsenal are top and Newcastle are 5% less. So for that reason, I think I'd start Ben White. Then I'm going to go and hide behind the sofa because I'm probably wrong. And then Trippier, you just play him every week. He's got so much upside in terms of attack and returns, bonus points, etc., etc. Even if he doesn't keep clean sheets, he'll return for you. But Botman, it's only clean sheets. And I think if you're looking for a clean sheet this week, it's more likely to come from Arsenal. So, yeah. Hopefully that helps. Oh, he's unactivated his triple captain. Oh, God. 6 minutes to go to the deadline, mate. Like I said, I'm not forming an opinion. I might have already said my opinion though, haven't I? I think I've already said that if I could choose, I'd do Haaland next week. Matoma or Saka? That is a really, really tough one. I think if you're choosing between Matoma and Saka, there's another player in your team you should be benching instead. I think it's impossible to say if Haaland is going to play against Villa. No one can say that. Same with like Rashford playing both games of this double, to be honest. Haaland is just playing every game for Man City. Pep isn't dropping him. He's not benching him. The only time he's benched him is when he's been injured or like been a doubt for playing. So I think he's going to play v Villa. I think he'd play every game if he's fit, genuinely. A rest for Arsenal, there's logic in that, isn't there? Samuel, I'm pleased to join you playing F1, mate. What track and what car are you driving? Matoma or Saka question. I've been answering all of these 50-50 calls because I think Matoma v Saka is a really 50-50 call. I've been doing a flip of a coin. So you can choose. This is an Indonesian coin. So one side of it has got a bird on it and the other side of it has got a leaf on it. And if you tell me if Saka is the bird or the leaf, I can flip a coin for you and make the decision if you're still around. Bloody Reece James. I don't want to hear that name. But yeah, he's going to kill. I think he's going to be an option again as well. I could actually. If someone wants to do a spreadsheet, go for it. I don't know if that dude who asked the question is still around. He's probably given up because I took longer than a minute to answer his question. He's probably gone. But if you are still here, then hello, thank you. Let me know what you want to do. Also, I've been thinking, I don't know how it feels as like a viewing experience, but would this stream be better if I found some like non-copyright, just plain background music to play alongside it, or is it okay with just me chatting? Which do you prefer? Would you like some funky background music that's like non-copyright, or just me chatting? I tell you what, Christopher, I'm impressed by the bottle not to do the Rashford triple captain. I'm not, obviously I don't know if it's the right call or not because it's predicting the future, which is no one knows, but it takes bottle to make a decision like that. And I think it's, yeah, I respect it because it must be like I can't put myself in that position because my triple captain's already gone. But yeah, it's a courageous call not to do that. I respect you for it. And obviously Rashford didn't score against Forest, so he's out of form now. Yeah, that chap who did Matoma v Saka is gone. We'll do it anyway. I'm gonna go say Saka is the bird. It says start Matoma. It landed on the leaf, so it's got start Matoma. Mate, I stalk all the teams that I'm competing against. But it usually takes like half an hour, so I give up because you can never load other people's teams. We're close. Deadline's nearly upon us. Tyro Mig Howlers, yeah, he is a bit of a fucking state. I swore then. I don't know if that's allowed on stream. Oh well. He's not bottled it, mate. It's a courageous decision. You got a minute to go. How are we doing? 35 seconds. Should do a countdown. Oh, spelled clock wrong. Oh well. There you go, there's the clock. Fifteen seconds. 8, 7, 6. No, it didn't glitch. No one's waiting for early Man City team news, that's why. There you go. The deadline has passed. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stream, everyone. I'll linger around for 5 minutes just in case anyone wants to have a bit of chat. But I think that ends us quite nicely there. As the deadline stream ends on the deadline. Funny that. That's how I line up. I'm not going to press refresh because it will ruin it. Important Casado. Why'd you bring in Casado? Have you seen something I'm not? Fair enough, mate. I can't. I have no comment. Fair enough. Cheeky punt. Fair enough. They've got Bournemouth, to be fair. Poor opposition. Do you reckon he'll play after all the upset that he's had with his move to Arsenal and stuff, and the cheeky social media posts he put out? It's quite funny, that, isn't it? He put out a post saying all this about wanting to be the great player from Ecuador, and yeah, doesn't get his move through, and now he's got to stay at Brighton for another 6 months. Winning the league, I think it's Arsenal. I think they're pretty nailed on to win it now. I think it's theirs to lose. In terms of going down, there are no teams that I want to go down. That's the thing this season. Just in terms of quality, I don't think Bournemouth have enough quality in their team. I think Southampton probably do. I think it could be the bottom 3 as it is at the moment. Yeah, Bournemouth, Southampton, Everton. It just depends what Dyche can do with Everton. But yeah, just looking at the teams above them, I think it's Bournemouth, Everton, Southampton. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the most likely 3 at the moment. I don't think the Everton squad is actually that bad. Like, they got Calvert-Lewin up front, Dwight McNeil, Damari Gray, who's really good. Who else have they got? Iwobi. Idrissa Gueye. I think Idrissa Gueye is really good. Who's the is it Decore? He's a really good midfielder. Patterson obviously injured, so Coleman's playing not great. Mikolenko's all right, and then they've got Tarkowski and Cody at centre back. I don't know. I don't think they're that old, are they? Like Calvert-Lewin, Gray. Who's their other guy on their front line? McNeil's only like 24. I don't think they're that old. Nah, I'm not sure. I think Everton's team's all right. I think it's the best of those 3. They're just not playing well. Do you know there is a website that I see everyone on Twitter using to find out effective ownership? Do you know what that is? Because I will go on it so we can look at it together. I'm going to linger around for another. I'll sign off at 6:45. I'll stay around until then if you want to stay around for a bit of chat. But I do need to go because I need to have my dinner and go to the pub. Effective ownership is... So it's ownership combined with the people that have captained him. So say everyone has Erling Haaland and everyone captains him in a week. He won't just have 100%, he'll have 200% because people have captained him. So with Rashford being a popular triple captain, he'll probably be over 100%. Because a lot of people have him, a lot of people have captained him. He could be, 200% if everyone captains him and some people triple captain him, etc. That's how it sort of works. Hopefully that's a good explanation. But yeah, so it's normal ownership percentage combined with the amount of people that have captained them or triple captained them in the case of Rashford this week. I'm going to Google it, see if there is one. I agree with you, Ben, by the way. The thing is with effective ownership if you think of it from a really mathematical perspective, right? Effective ownership is important when picking your triple captain, because if you pick someone as a triple captain, right, they do well, but everyone has them as their triple captain. Your rank gain from triple captaining them won't be very much because everyone's done it. But if you pick another player, so that's in, don't forget the triple captain, I'm going to try and do maths here and it's not going to work. The triple captain is triple points. So you get the double points and then an extra third for the triple captain. So it's not that powerful. Whereas if you triple captain a low owned player and they do well, that extra difference from the triple captain is more valuable. And so your rank will benefit more, if that makes sense. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, this is fine margins. And yeah, quite happily just say play your own game. But yeah. I think more people triple captain Rashford this week, mate. I think so. They're almost forgetting about the opportunity to give it to Haaland next week. I think more people will do it to Rashford this week. Shit, I forgot to do my fan team transfers. Oh well. That's genuinely the scenario that I could foresee happening, Christopher. I don't see Rashford really scoring more than one goal a game. Whereas Haaland, like we keep saying, he can just absolutely explode. And for that reason, and he can do it against anyone. He scored a hat-trick against Man United. Yeah, absolutely, Christopher. I think if you don't use it on Rashford this week, next week Haaland is the one. I just hope it pays off for you, mate, because it's a really courageous, like ballsy decision not to do it, and I also don't think it's a bad one either. Like, good for you for playing it your own way. I really like it. But yeah, like what? I guess what are you actually scared of from Rashford? Like what points total? Like say he got a goal a game, 2 goals this game week. I wouldn't be too worried. But if he scored any more than 2 goals, then I'd be a bit worried. Yeah. My go-to drink at the pub, mate. I do at the moment anyway. I've really gotten into my swimming. So I don't really drink alcohol. But the beers that I do like are Neck Oil. I think it's a Beavertown beer called Neck Oil. Really enjoy that. Other than that, I just have a lemonade or a Coke most of the time, mate. I'm not really a big drinker. And if I'm on a big night out to get absolutely smashed, which I don't really do anymore, I haven't done it for over a year, I don't think, I just go vodka lemonades. So yeah, there you go. Neck Oil or vodka lemonades. Pretty staple, aren't they? Or we go for, if you want to do a shot, for some reason me and my mates select black Sambuca. I don't know why, but that's just tradition. So yeah, I absolutely hate it because it tastes like licorice, and I really don't like licorice. But yeah, black Sambuca just sends me to another dimension, basically. I just go into another reality, so I tend to stay away from that now. Oh, give it another few minutes and I'll get my dinner on and head to the pub. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I've been on for 2.5 hours now, so I think I've run out of FPL content to talk about. But if you want to ask me any more questions, please do. Otherwise, we'll end it there. Doesn't have to be FPL related. I like all kinds of sports and other things just in general life that I could talk about. I can talk for days. I'm just running out of energy to think of new stuff. I'm afraid I've been on for nearly 3 hours now, and my voice is going. But yeah, if you're new, let me know what transfers you made this week. Be interesting to hear. Otherwise, I'll give it another minute and I'll end it there, and I'll catch you guys in either my next video on Twitter. Excuse me. Either in my next video on Twitter or on my next deadline stream. Yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. If you've been here for the whole thing, you're an absolute legend. I don't know how you've put up with me for that long. All right. If you feel free to just DM me on Twitter, mate, if you want, Christopher. Keep in touch, and yeah, good luck to everyone. I think I'm going to leave it there and go and make some dinner now. It was a pleasure. Really enjoyed sharing the deadline with you. Yeah, like the stream if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, and yeah, we'll be back next week with another stream. So see you soon, everyone. Have a good week.